Hello everyone, welcome again in Eng-Man YouTube channel. So we will have another session of quick knowledge video. And today's topic about the infamous water conning or water channeling. Okay, so I read another paper, quite interesting paper. You can find it in the internet, cross-linked and responsive polymer, gelation model and review. And I found these two interesting pictures, so I thought why not making another quick knowledge session video. Okay, so again, these are about the two infamous water encroachment mechanisms towards our producers. They are the two major water problems for our production wells. Okay, I'm sure you are quite familiar with these two concepts, these two problems. And here on the left, of course, we have water conning problem. And on the right, we have a water channeling issue. Okay, so let's start about water conning. This problem is mainly caused by excessive production, excessive drawdown. Okay, so let's say we have bottom water there, aquifer, and this is our perforation, our completion, and then of course we produce the reservoir fluid, and it will create drawdown. If we generate excessive drawdown, excessive production, then we will create a drag force, a viscous force that is stronger than the gravity force. And it will generate the water conning towards our perforations. Okay, so that's the issue of water conning. It's because excessive production. So if you want to limit or if you want to solve the water conning problem, the first method or the first effort that you can do is, of course, to limit your production. Okay, you can calculate the critical conning rate, and then you produce at that critical rate or below to limit, to solve, to stop the water conning problem. Okay, that's the basic approach that you can do. All right, so now we move to the water channeling issue. As you can see here, we have producer and then we have injector. And then somehow when we inject the water continuously, eventually the water will arrive at our producer. And that's basically the water channeling. Water from a water source, it can be injector, or it can also be bottom water. It can also be aquifer. It can also be edge aquifer. All right. The main issue is the connection between the water source, in this picture, the water injector, and our production well. Okay, so the main issue of water channeling is the channel itself. The channel can be TIF zone, high permeability streak, high permeability layer, high permeability zone. The channel can be induced fracture, water flood induced fracture. It can be fault, all right, that is conductive. It can be natural fracture. It can be anything that has, high permeability. And somehow it is extended between our water source and our producer. So again, water channeling is the issue that is caused by a channel that is connecting our water source to our production well. The water source can be a water injection well, can be bottom water, can be edge aquifer. All right, and the channel can be, natural fracture, water flood induced fracture, it can be conductive fault, it can even be, the channel behind our casing. Although it's the first or the original concept of water channeling is not true channeling behind casing, but indeed, if you have channel behind casing, it can also give behavior quite similar with the real water channeling caused by reservoir effect. So again, the channel can be natural fracture, induced fracture, it can be conductive fault, it can be high permeability streak, it can be high permeability layer, high permeability zone, TIF zone. You have high permeability, and then water flows across that channel. And then as water flows continuously, you will have increased water saturation. And if you have increased water saturation, then the relative permeability of water at that zone will be even higher. It will make the water flow even easier because you have increased water saturation, increased relative permeability to water at that channel. And it can be even worse if you have unfavorable, displacement caused by mobility ratio that is greater than the oil, or mobility ratio greater than 1, or your water is basically more mobile than your oil. It's quite long explanation, it's quite complicated, but actually water channeling is not that complicated. Again, water channeling is because a channel that is connecting our water source and our producer. Water source can be water injector, an aquifer, and the channel can be fracture, fault, high permeability zone. All right. And then lastly, you can also do diagnostic analysis using the famous Chan plot. Basically, you plot the logarithmic of water oil ratio and then the derivative. All right. And then you plot them against the logarithmic of cumulative days. And if you have water conning problem, the diagnostic plot will be somehow around this, around this shape. And then if you have water channeling issue, you will have something like this. Okay, so you will have, the log water oil ratio that is keep increasing. But for the water conning problem, the derivative will go down. Whereas if you have water channeling issue, okay, at late time, both the logarithmic water oil ratio and the derivative at late time, it will increase quite steep like this. Okay. And in my experience, most commonly, you will find the water channeling issue. All right, so I think that's all. Okay, again, we are talking about the infamous problems, water conning and water channeling. Okay, so thank you so much for watching and see you again in the next quick knowledge videos. Thank you.